Welcome everybody to the Brother Speak podcast. This is Brother Speak. If you're new to the channel, please like, comment, and subscribe. Now, a lot of stuff going on in the YouTube streets. A lot of feuds going on. A lot of people talking and getting people in their panties in a bunch, and it's just weirdo stuff going on. But my main focus been right now has just been house hunting. So I'm finally trying to move into a house because I'm looking at the environment right now, and I was looking at like moving from where I am right now, and I'm looking at the rent. I'm like, rent like $1,000 for some small ass apartments, and it even more than when I used to live in an apartment. I'm like, oh Lord, nah, I'm gonna have to take myself out of renting. Like $1,000, and that's before your utilities, before cable, if you're getting cable or satellite. I'm like, nah, I'm good on that. Yeah. So I'm looking into two houses. I was looking into like three, but one has been sold. So I'm looking at two. Drive distance is about the same. The house is bigger, but it's like cramped up. It's like a mobile home, and you're cramped. The area is all cramped up. Whereas the other house I'm looking at, it has a lot of land, and it's kind of away from people. It's not like a big neighborhood or something like that. It's down on the highway. So I'm looking in the pros and cons of it. Um, One's a bigger house. It's got 3 bedrooms, and I can use that to do an Airbnb. Where the other one, I don't think the Airbnb will work, but you never know. People, to avoid the prices of a hotel, they'll do everything. They'll go anywhere. So, and one of the houses, the only person around it was another black woman going to be around, which I'm cool with that. I'm not the most sociable person in the world, so it wouldn't matter to me to have a bunch of people around, to me. It so that's why I've been mainly focused on, kind of losing sleep over it, because I work at night, and a lot of these people want to meet in the day. I'm like, we got to meet in the day. I'm like I work at night, like mornings when I'm asleep. Like I'm like, I cut my phone off. I'm like, I don't care. World War III going on. I'm like, I'll get up and deal with it when I wake up. So that's just been my main focus right now. All this other stuff has just been um at the background. So, but I have been listening to some live streams. Um, I saw Priscilla. She was on We-On Loc's channel. And before I even go in that I did see that there's some women that giving some pushback, and they're not doing it on some we just love men, but is actually challenging her by actually looking into what she is actually saying, what she wrote in the book. So shouts out to Rob B for doing that. She went to challenge Priscilla. Priscilla told her, "You need to read my book before you can challenge me." And she said, "Okay, then." And that's what she did. And so that's which I remember on one of Will Locke's platforms where the guy was saying, "Well, how can you challenge Priscilla?" Well, you got to read what she wrote and get the idea where she came up with her theories, and then you can challenge her on that one. But most people are not going to put in that work because that requires reading and patience. And we know a lot of these people on here don't have the reading skills and don't have the patience. They just rather act on what they saying. This is how I feel about it, and I'm just gonna act. Like, yeah, but you're looking like a fool. So no, shouts out to Rob B for doing that, and shouts out to Bomb Cherry because she actually broke it down and discussed the things of love that she was trying to talk about. And I do think part of the weakness of it is that she's mentioning Priscilla, by the way, mentioning the Greek version of love, where there are other religions that have their different versions of love. You know, you have the African version of love, you have the Indian version of love. You just focus on Greek mythology, and we know what type of time those dudes are on. And so it's kind of like if you're just basing it off of that, then that's going to look very weak. But you know, like I said, I haven't read a book. I've listened to some of the things she's saying, and you know, I can't really challenge on love if, if men are capable of love. Now, I will say that men and women love differently. That has been said. And I think there was a psychiatrist on here, a white guy, who said it that men's definition of love and women's definition of love are two different things. And so, given that, I believe that men can love, but it's not the type of love that women want or going to understand. Whereas men, it's like we don't understand women's version of love. So it's kind of like we're working on two definitions of love, and we're asking people to meet in kind of in the middle, where it should be just you understand how each person love, and if you can do it, fine. If you can't, then you move on. That's that's not a that's not a hard concept, but I guess again, what a lot of problem comes in the way is that whole thing with lust gets in the way. This thought process, I have to be with this person, and maybe I can make them change, which we know that's never going to work. This never works. People are only going to play a role for so long before they get tired of it. Hold on a second. So it gets so people want people to do stuff that they want them to do on their time, and you have to accept people for who they are and work with what they doing. If you can't do that, then hey, don't deal with them. So like I said, I saw Priscilla on We-On Loc, and she was saying some very powerful stuff that I could agree with. And one of the things is like, why are we tiptoeing around these males? And you can clearly tell there's a definition that she's not talking about all men. You know, she's talking about males. And not at one time, well, did she put a specific race on it. She said males in general. which I can understand that too. Because, when we get on these spaces, oh, black men are the worst. Black men don't, all these other races of men don't do what black men do. And I'm like, you got history that dictates that that's a lie. All these races of men have history of beating women, raping women, leaving them as baby mamas, all kinds of stuff they've done to women. So when certain people on here put it just black men are the worst of everybody, and they do the other races of men protect their women, when you see a lot of atrocities over there in their groups. And I remember there was one dude was talking about, well, this Japanese guy asked me why they don't protect their women. And I'm like, bro, why don't you ask him about how he's protecting their women? They have issues with their women too. I literally saw where they got the train stations. They literally now have to have a train station, uh, train cars where it's just women by themselves and men by themselves. You want to know why they have that? Because a lot of those dudes will be filling up these women, touching them inappropriately, and the people got tired of having to respond to that shit. So they said that no, we're gonna have women here, men here, and keep it pushing. If they were really protecting their women like they what they were saying, you wouldn't have a situation like that. Those men would be on their best behavior. But guess what? They don't. And just like I said, like if you look at the anime, you look at their TV, they're showing their men doing the worst to these women. Now people will play it off, oh, it's just anime. They exaggerate stuff. I'm like, no, they really telling what's really going on. You just think of it as just childish. But a lot of these anime tell you what's going on in their culture. Not just the good stuff, not just the heroic stuff, but also the negative stuff. So when some of these black men and who want to be pro black women that badly talk about, well, these other great races of men treat their women better and all kinds of stuff. No, it's not that. They just have the power to make sure they dirt not out in the public like this. That's all it is. So you have a facility saying the same thing. Like, yeah, all these men are fucked up. All these males do some fucked up shit. There are men who are not on that, but a lot of these males are on some demon time. And you got to recognize that and stop placating to these different males like a Charleston White. And I kind of agree with her on the whole Charleston White thing that there are a lot of males who listen to this goofy. And because a lot of these dudes are fucked up, I agree with Charleston White. And I'm looking at him like with the side eye. Agree with him? Why are you even watching him? Why would you watch a dude who literally sent a not a dick pic, a video of him stroking his penis to another man? Why would you listen to a guy or look at a guy who's threatening fucking reporters because he know the reporter ain't gonna do nothing to him? This is the same guy threatening people on the daily. Why would you even listen to him? Even have him breathe your air as a man, unless you like him. I see these dudes all the time in the prison. I wouldn't want to hang around these dudes no more than I have to. I don't want to be around these motherfuckers. I want them to go back in that when they come out for trial. I want them to go back in their house as quickly as possible. Man, dude, get out the child hall. Go back to your house. Yeah, I want to. No, 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 no. Go over there. I don't want to talk to you. You on bullshit time. So I agree with her on that. We gotta leave these motherfuckers behind. These weak motherfuckers need to go. And she did make a good point that there are a lot of women who will give grace to dudes like this. Even grace to some of the dudes in the manosphere, black manosphere, manosphere, because, and she said a lot of times it's out of fear. Like, well, if we don't interact with them or placate to them, then they're gonna do violence. And she's like, "What? It's gonna be violent either way. So you might as well learn how to deal with it now." Which I agree with. I'm like, listen, you either get out of the area, or carry a pistol. So these dudes want to act a fool. Baka. I mean, I know Texas it's open carry. Um, it's hey, you think you're gonna run up, Baka? the the gun coming. They ain't gonna play with you. You know, sad to hear. And I know some women like, where the men at? Or like, well, look, listen, and here's where the thing with the men are. We could talk to these dudes all we want, but if they don't want to listen to us, hey, the only other thing it's going to be is violence. That's why I like some of these pro black women, black males. wh- Okay, I remember that we were talking about Kevin. I said, okay, so what are you going to do about Kevin? Oh, we're gonna get on here and talk bad about Kevin. Okay, you done that. Now what? Same I said about the Mansfield. Okay, you done all that. Now what? Because at this point, all you're doing is just giving him more attention. You're making more the black manosphere more than what it is. So okay, now you talked about him. Now what you gonna do? Well, we gonna talk to the women so that okay, I get that. You want to show that they're black men that care. They have that in their real life. I'm like, they have preachers. They have Steve Harvey. They have there are other black men who be on here who don't disrespect black women. They probably have black men in their lives that don't disrespect black women. They had that already. So now what? Now what you're gonna do? Because the only point that you at this point is violence. And a lot black men, I say me to extent too, you don't have the power to correct, punish, and reward for the behavior that you want. If you don't have none of those three, you're not going to change these dudes. And a lot of times, like even with Kevin, I even said, okay, so what the next thing you do is you gotta go beat his ass to stop him from saying what he's saying. Because again, YouTube is free speech, quote unquote. And YouTube clearly was not stopping him from saying some of the stuff he was saying. So the next thing is violence. Oh, I don't want to promote violence. I said, well, that's your only option at this point. Because in those other countries, if they don't want you to say what you're gonna say, they're gonna either financially cut you off or they're gonna have a knock on the door. But they ain't there to talk. So are you gonna do that? And here's the thing: a lot of these guys are not gonna do that because they know the consequences coming, aka jail. And guess what? Let's be honest. A lot of the women that they claim that they're gonna support them are not gonna put money on their books. They're not gonna take care of their families. They're just gonna move on to the next person. They know that. I know that. That's reality. The reality is a lot of dudes don't act because jail. They're gonna lose their freedom. They're gonna lose their finances and lose their family if they go deal with some goofy knucklehead. And nobody's going to raise money for them. Nobody is going to cheer them on and take care of their children. That's a fact. So when you have stuff like that going on, that's why a lot of men are not going to act. And you can say, well, that's a man's duty. No, the duty to a man is to protect himself and his self interest. That is his duty, his family, which is his. That's his duty. Protecting now, when he's assigned that duty to protect the women of the community, then yes, that is his duty, and that's what they should do. Like the police. But guess what? They're paid. They are paid to protect and serve. Now you can make an argument that really they just paid as bully the public, but that's another discussion altogether. The point of it is that if you're not providing for the tools for these men to protect, where they ain't going to jail, or if they do go to jail, it's minimal. Well, if you're not doing any of that, then these men are not going to do any of this. So that's why the degeneracy is still going. Because guess what? Priscilla said this. A lot of these guys are rewarded for dysfunction. They are rewarded. Charleston White is rewarded for being dysfunctional. Jay Prince is rewarded for being dysfunctional. Hey, Antoine Daniels was rewarded for being dysfunctional. Rollo Tomasi, Sneeko, Andrew Tate. Guys like that are rewarded. Hell, Charlie Sheen. Let's go Charlie Sheen. Let's go to White for a second. They were rewarded for being dysfunctional, especially being dysfunctional towards women. They were rewarded. They were celebrated, not just by men, but also women too. Hell, that Jeremy Brown, after he was killed, deservedly so, fuck that dude. He was celebrated like he was a pillar of the community. Think about that. So if you're gonna have where dysfunctional males are rewarded, celebrated, while the good man is getting shitted on, have more risk of going to jail than the dysfunctional dude, what you think gonna happen? And you expect them to run up and protect when he's not even going to be protected by the community. If you got dudes they got family members who are pedos, and they sure want to take care of them, but guess what? They're gonna get ostracized by their own family. Hell, they'll call it the cops on them. And well, men just need to do no. You want men to be sacrificial lambs. No man, men are going to sacrifice when it is in their best interest. But if it's not in their best interest and they know that it's going to be worthless in the end, nobody's going to do all that. And and it ain't just black men, any race of men. They're not going to just sacrifice themselves for nothing. And if you don't understand that as a community, well, then you just want dudes to sacrifice themselves, and nobody's going to do that. And it's sad that people got to say it like that. Like Priscilla said, like men do things out of duty, and self-interest, which that is a true statement to a degree. But I would say a lot of people do that, even women. But to go what she's saying, it's like there are people who really think that a man is just supposed to give, just sacrifice himself, and be put on the slaughter for and then don't care about his family, his feelings, nothing, which is sad. And that's why you have a dysfunction in the community like that, because they don't care about the good men, but these dysfunctional dudes, oh, we gotta cater to him. And instead of catering to these dysfunctional men, instead of empowering the good men and protecting them legally, financially, so that they can do what they need to do. See, these men going taking care of these goofies and then going to jail. That's not how that's supposed to go. They're not supposed to go to jail, so that these goofies know, yeah, I'll smoke you and get you up out of here, and I'm not going to jail. I'm going to be out. So any other you motherfuckers will do the same thing. Guess what? I'm not going to jail. I'll be out the next day. That's how it's supposed to be. So again, going back to Priscilla, and she was saying how a lot of these women want to be in harmony with these goofy, these males who acting a fool. It is a lot of it is out of fear. Also, I would say a lot of it is also lust too. You know, fear, lust, also like loss of power. Now, I did ask We-On Loc, and I was trying to ask Miss Oshunez, and they gave some good answers, but I was saying that a whole community of women that she wants is not going to work, especially when you're talking about within the races, because a lot of these women is, and there was a debate that Amari Brown did with this feminist about patriarchy, deconstructing patriarchy. And Amari made a good point about it. As much as women say there's all this negative towards women in patriarchy, there's also a lot of positives towards women in patriarchy. If you look at crimes that women commit, they get the lesser they get less time. With as far as assault on children, which by statistics, single mothers do the most harm to children than anybody. Now, when I say single mothers, I'm not talking about black single mothers. I know these manosphere will be like, yeah, see, we told you. No, it said mothers. That means any race. But when you look at how they are treated versus the men are treated, they make a lot of excuses for these women. But that's happening in a patriarchal system. Hell, when women sexually abuse, let's just keep it with men. That's even in some cases looked at favorably, as opposed when a man does it to a little girl. Even though we both statistics show that even women who sexual assault or sexually abuse boys, it affects boys just as much as girls. Maybe in some ways even worse. But that's not going to be harshly punished under a patriarchal system. But if you take away that patriarchal system, then all those harsher penalties now will be visited on women, because the it's a funny thing. There are men who do look women as the lesser, and yes, there is a problem with that, but also it's also a benefit to some of these women because they're not getting as much time. They'll get the more help out of the two. But if you take away that patriarchal system, a lot of women are going to be in a lot more trouble than they under this system. Like I said, I'm not saying it's bad, but it's not bad or anything like that. But I'm saying that, yeah, it could be a lot worse if you take away this patriarchal system. And there are a lot of women who don't want that to be taken away. There are women who are comfortable in this system. They're okay with these dudes being dysfunctional because a lot of these women benefit off of it. Now, you could say society benefits off of these dysfunctional males. They make a lot of money off of them because, yeah, that's their prison pipeline thing. It don't just work on black men. It's also white dudes too, because it you would think if you look in the prisons, you would think that black men are the most populated person in the prison. Wrong. It's white and Hispanic. Make especially even in the state of Texas, it's white and Hispanic who way outnumber the blacks. So, I mean, you look. Who's that? I'm Nikki. How you doing, ma'am? So you. So when you're talking about taking out patriarchy, there there's some good and bad in patriarchy. So if you dismantle the whole thing entirely, then you're going to. It's not going to be this paradise that I think Priscilla is trying to push. Because again, there are a lot of people that benefit off of the dysfunction. And also, and I think especially when you're talking about white women, their men are in a position of power. So you want them to give up their power to be in this community situation. They're not going to give that up. You know, that's just how they go. So seeing that, so I can see where there could be a flaw in that. But other than the other thing, like she's saying that these males, why are we trying to placate to these males? We should be leaving them alone. And I did like the whole thing that she was saying that the men have to stay away from their base nature. And I've always said that this society, this patriarchy, if you want patriarchy, does force black males to go to focus solely on their base nature, as opposed to when you're not in a patriarchy, when you're not stifling black men in particular, they're able to think beyond vagina. And when black man in particular, thinks beyond vagina, he can't be controlled. Nobody can control him, and that's a scary thing for a lot of people, a lot of men, a lot of women. A black man who's not controlled by a vagina, I can't use my vagina to get him to do stuff. That's a very powerful thing. And a lot of people don't want that. They want the Charleston Whites of the world. They want these rappers to be in this dysfunctional state because that's where they make the most money. As I've said on this channel before, when you are weak, you are food. People make a ton of money off of you. That's just the way it is. If you weak at the job, they're gonna use you up. If you weak behind women, they're gonna use that against you. And it's been done. So, you know, so I didn't have a problem with what she was saying. And there were a lot of people apparently with hating on We-On Loc because she jumped on the panel. They trying to say he set that up. And like I was there. I was listening to the whole thing when she jumped up there. He didn't invite her. She was in the chat. She saw, I guess she saw her name in the title. She wanted to check it out. He asked her to come up. She went up. That's how they went. And she was speaking. She was, you know, she's going monologue. That's how it goes. And she wasn't rude or anything like that. And she made her point eloquently without disrespecting. And she was very passionate about what she was saying. And I could feel that. And like I said, I agree with a lot of she's saying, leaving these goofy dudes alone. And stop worrying about what they think, which me personally, I don't care either way. Because like I've always said, they ain't feeding me, financing me, or sending chicks to bang me. I could care less. Charleston White don't interest me. Jay Prince don't interest me. A lot of these dudes in the manosphere do not interest me. Because a lot of these dudes are just weak. You can tell the weakness. You worry about these women, what these women doing all day. I don't. It's just you can tell. You can feel it. It's like, why would I listen to you? And I agree with her. Like, why would I listen to this goof? I see these every day. And there dudes who actually pay attention to this goofy. And you know, it's just like, man, that's sad. It's really sad. So, like I said, she was on there. Y'all can check it out. You know, and like I said, I don't get she's made the distinction between males and men in particular, which a lot of people try so hard to keep. No, they men. No, these are males. Males and men are different. And if you don't know the difference, something wrong with you. I don't put them in the same boat. I don't want to be associated with these males. Y'all can do that. You want to be associated with them? Great. Not me. I'm not bound to be associated with these dudes. I made that distinction clear when they try to put me in the manosphere. You a Kevin Samuels fan? I'm like, no, I'm not a Kevin Samuels fan. I could care less. No, I'm not with the black manosphere like that. No. I listen to some, and I'm very particular who I listen to. If you on some goofy shit, you look like a weak ass motherfucker, I'm not listening to you. I can't. Why would I listen to you for? Ugh. But you got people, and she did make a good point on this one. People don't agree with people because they like the person. They agree with the person because they agree with the thoughts. They have similar thoughts. So if you're listening to a dude like Charleston White, yeah, you believe what he believes. It resonates with you. What he's saying don't resonate with me. Like a Prince or Antoine Daniels or Angry Man and Obsidian or RBR. I'm just naming dudes that fucking loudmouths that people just love. they can't stop listening to him. I can't listen to him for 5 seconds. Now I would say with Eggman, I used to listen to him, but then when he started going in too much on the women and whining about cash apps and stuff, I'm like, dude, I don't want to hear that stuff. Now it's just you. Now all the stuff that I thought was, I would think would be a masculine man, I can't assign to you no more. I'm good, and when you listen to it, but it. I get that with a lot of men, even men who are not on that man's stuff. Some of these men, it's just like women run you. It's like, God, like women run your very existence, whether you claim to be protecting them or not. Women run you. You need women to be around. I don't need them like that. I want one, but I don't need one. But you basing it off of need, and it's just you're proving her point even when you're not trying, and that's a problem. We need women. We need women to function. You don't have a woman, men don't function. It's like that's you. You don't function. That's a problem. You don't function. Just say you don't. Don't put that on all men. Because there are men who are doing stuff that there's no woman around. You proving her point without proving. You proving her point, and it's like, that's why I'm saying, well, how you gonna prove it wrong when you're proving her right? Even the dudes who are pro black women, black males are proving her right. Just it's sickening, you know. And like I said, I just can't be around weak dudes like that, man. I just can't. It just bothers me. Dude who's so focused on women, women, women all day, whether one side or the other, it just bothers me. But yeah, I mean, like I said, that was a good interview. I mean, well, it was an interview. She was on the panel talking, and she made a point. And y'all want to check it out? I'll put the link in the description. Shouts out to We-On Loc for having that discussion. Glad that no men came up there just to badger her. And like I said, man, and oh, there was one point that she did make, and we talk about fathers being in the home, fathers being in the home. We need men in the home, men in the home. And she said this point, and I agree with him. Agree with her on this. What's the point of having a weak dude in your home? What's the point of having a male in there if he can't teach the boy anything? What's the point of having this male in there if he's worthless? He can't bring no money in. He can't support you on nothing. Why is he there? So when people say that, we need to be real careful about that. I agree. Like, listen, one dude that I argue with, Dark Lake. Now he supposedly had two parent home, but every t- every time, well, not every time, but he up there calling women black bitches and hoes. And I hate talking about this guy, but I'm trying to use him as an example. But you in a two-parent home, but you think a black woman is a black bitch, a black hoe. So I gotta look at your father like, what your father was there for? He ain't doing shit. He ain't teaching nothing. And then on top of that, when you get called out for it, you making excuses for why you're doing that. But he's not the only one. There's a lot of dudes who say I was in a two-parent home, but you got huge issues and crying about women all the time. It's like, what was your father there for? What was your mama doing? What were they there for? So it's not just if they're there. Is are they instilling the values so that you could be a productive man out here, where you're not whining about these chicks all day, where you're not. Yeah, you get hurt if the woman hurts you, but you learn to move on. You got setbacks, and you learn, hey, it's a setback. It's not the end of the world. If your parents not doing that for you, you might as well have been adopted or in a foster care system. There's some people that I've seen. I'm like, damn, yeah, you probably would have been better homeless. You probably would have been better. Cause it seemed like your mom and daddy didn't teach you a goddamn thing. They were worthless. So it's gotta be more than just they're there. And I can say that about the women too. Like there's dudes will say, well, the woman's doing the best she can, and yeah, you got to make excuses. No, I don't make no excuses for a parent being a shitty parent. If she's just a shitty parent, she's a shitty parent. Like I literally heard people talking about, well, these women hurting and abusing their kids. Well, you got to understand they by themselves. I'm like, no, no, no. Sorry, lady. You miss. Sorry, dude. Sorry, lady. Miss me with that bullshit. Because there are a bunch of women who have been left by their daddy, baby daddy, who he's not as active, and they still treat their children right. So you can miss me with the bullshit. I'm not gonna make her actions the responsibility of that guy. It's her actions. If she is abusing the children, that's her decision to do that. That had nothing to do with the guy. And same with the guy about his children. How he treat his children has nothing to do with her. It's him. You bail out on your children, that's a you problem, not a her problem. And vice versa. So, so my thing is like, it doesn't matter if that dude is here. Is he doing, if he's raising the child to be a man? Is he making sure that he understands to respect women and respect and have be a decent person and be able to control his emotions, control his desires, and accept responsibility for his actions and not blame somebody else for his own actions? If he's not doing that as a man or as a woman, then what do you expect? He trash. Saying like some of these women will say, well, these boys turn on them when they get older with the testosterone here. I'm like, well, if you didn't instill him to respect and fear you when he was a child, what you expect going to happen? I'm not saying that children don't rebel and will try to test you. That's children. Children do that anyway, whether you're in a one parent or a two parent. But if you don't instill the respect and fear of you as a child, well, guess what? He's not going to do it when he get older. And yeah, he will turn on you, bad mouth you, all kinds of stuff, because you never gave him any reason to respect you. And that's same with a man. And like I remember, like my brother, unfortunately, he had problems with drugs. He wasn't around when his daughter was younger. So by the time he started spending actual time with his daughter, she was like 6. And she didn't see him as a daddy. And my mom and I, we had to tell him, like, well, you wasn't around. How's she gonna see you as daddy? You wasn't there. She don't know you. You're a stranger. So we got to be honest. You how how that child is going to act, especially towards the opposite sex, is dependent on dependent on that parent. And how what that parent actions do towards a child has nothing to do with the opposite sex. It's that particular person. So the excuses that we're gonna make for why people treat their children the way they do, that has to die. That is on the person. Shit. But one more thing before I get up out of here. Everybody was all up in arms about Tyler Perry and what he said about the light bill, and so I actually went to listen to the whole thing because I had my thoughts on it, but till I actually listened to what he was actually saying, that made me kind of backtrack a little bit on what I was thinking. So what he really was saying with that whole thing about the light bill thing is like, listen, look, you got the guy has to match not only your financial but your mentality. Yeah, you can have a dude who makes just much money as you, but if his mentality's all effed up, that same money is gonna be gone within a week. Or how much hell you're gonna have with it. So I want this guy to make as much money as me or more. Okay, but what hell you gonna be inviting to your home? Because it ain't just the broke motherfuckers who act a fool towards women. There's dudes with money who act a fool towards women. So, oh yeah, well he got the money to take care of me. Yeah, but you sure he's not gonna use it as a tool against you? You think he's not gonna use that and throw it in your face? I mean, so yeah, I mean, now if you're making 70K and he making 25K, I don't know. You need to be around that guy because I'm like 25K, right? And it depends what age he is. Now he in his 30s making 25K. Yeah, you might need that. I don't think that hubby material. Now he making 35K, you making 75. That's a little different. But, and even then, can he sustain himself? He's not bugging you for money. I mean, that's more important than that. I'm like, I got my 40K. I'm good. I don't need your money. But a lot of times there are women who will take in a dude who's the bum because at just like with these dudes with money trying to control women, you got women out here trying to control men. Yeah, they'll take the dude who's not as educated and making less money so they can control them. So those guys are in awe of her, how she's speaking, because he don't know no better. He ain't graduate high school. So he thinking what she's saying is it's some amazing stuff. But to a guy who's probably college educated, he looking at her like, you ain't saying nothing that I've ever heard before. Like going back to Priscilla, some of the stuff that she talking about, I'm like, I've heard that stuff before. I get the concept of what she talking about. So it's not as impressive to me as it would be a person who don't have that college education. Or just you read. Not saying you have to be college educated to understand what she's saying. If you just read and experience life, you understand what she's saying very well. But going back to that, it's like if he's not equally yoking, at least understanding what you trying to say, and he's not like ooh of you, okay, that makes sense. But if he's just you just oh man, you just know so much more, and uh, uh, just in la la land with you. I'm like, that's a problem. Never mind the money, just that part alone is just a problem. He don't even understand what you're saying. And eventually, that's going to cause a problem because he's going to look like he's going. Because I see women who do that, they better than the guy. So now you're dating a guy that you think you are superior to, and you got more money in him. How you think you're going to act towards that guy? Let's just say reality. How we would act towards a person that we think is inferior to us. We're not going to treat them like a person we think is our equal or better. You're just not. So listening to what he was saying about the phone light bill, I get what he was trying to say, but I do say no. You shouldn't be just happy with a dude just be able to pay a phone bill. Can he take care of himself? Can he be independent without you? He don't need your money. He's not even looking for you to have money. He got his stuff together. Even if you have a better lifestyle, if he's enjoying his lifestyle, that's fine. Now you can show him your lifestyle, and if he wants to partake in that, then he know what he had to do to get to that lifestyle. And if he don't, he just don't. Like my lifestyle and someone making 70K, maybe 100K, we might not be compatible, and that's cool. But she thinks it's compatible, and I got two choices. Either she's gonna have to, I hate to say, lower herself down, but be okay with my lifestyle, or I have to match hers. And if I'm not, and I don't think she's worth it to match hers, then I'm gonna stay out of that. But the point is, I don't think we should not be accepting less of men. The main thing is should be, is he stable? Does he have his ego in check? Is he gonna be supportive of what you're doing? You know, is he willing to put in his work, and is he willing to improve? It's one thing, and I think that when people saying work with a brother, I think people took that and did the extremes, like work with a dude who ain't got nothing. That's not what they meant. They meant is he's trying to build, he's trying to get to a certain spot. That's who you work with, not some bum ass dude off the street. And clearly he ain't trying to improve shit. No, you ain't supposed to work with that guy. You shouldn't be having with a dude who's just, hey, look, I got my light bill. I got the light bill for you. Yay, look at me. No, no, if that's what he can do right now, but then if he's improved and well, okay, I can take care of that mortgage for you. Or better, yeah, oh, you know what? Keep this house. Let's go get this house over here. No, keep your house, but I got this house over here. So we can live in this house. And so now you got two houses. That makes sense, right? But but again, people want to hear what they wanted to hear out of it. And I admit that I wanted to hear what I wanted to hear out of it. And I was just going raging on like, he just want men to be in this lesser position so he can make more money. So these women would get with these bum ass dudes and so they could be miserable. So he had more material for his shows and movies and stuff. And you know, and I think there's some people who do that. So they want, again, like I said earlier, they want these males be dysfunctional because it makes money. The court system makes money off of these dysfunctional males. They when these dudes are having problem with their women and they go to court for these custody cases. It's making these people money. The state gets free labor. Well, pennies on the dollar off of these dudes in jail. So it's there is money to be made of having males being dysfunctional. Even these dudes who's just suckers for love, there's money to be made off of those guys. Because that's who feeds into this whole Valentine Day thing and the marriages. Or the OnlyFans and all that. There's weak dudes makes a lot of money for a lot of people. And they can be used as fodder. I mean, look at what happened at January 6th. Now tell me a lot of those dudes ain't fucking losers. Trust me, they are. Because no man with common sense will be going over there trying to take over a government over some the fact of rich folks fighting. You fighting a fight between rich folks. Why would you do something that stupid? Oh, they gonna take over the country. Newsflash, motherfucker. You go over there, you going to jail. Trump didn't go to jail. Well, now. And the only reason Trump going to jail and facing prosecution now is because he wants to run. If he wasn't running and he was taking those president's checks, nobody they wouldn't be bothering him. But they know Trump wants to run. And he know people are going to vote for him. And the ideal of Trump running scares a lot of those politicians because they know his fan base really want them to go ape shit on this government, and they know they can't because they gotta cooperate with the Democrats like that. So they don't want Trump to run, but they have no choice. But Trump ain't gonna stop. So how you gonna stop him? All of a sudden, fraud cases. Now he doing something with the government. I mean, come on now. I mean, anybody can see this one. Yeah, he is being prosecuted because he wants to run. If he wasn't running, no one would care. If he was collecting those presidential checks, because those are lifetime checks that he get, no one would care. So it's like that's what it is. Um, but there is money to be made off of dysfunctional men. Dysfunctional males make good soldiers. Dysfunctional males are pawns in the bigger scheme. Like, how do you get these dudes to attack black folks without attacking them to yourselves or using the law in some tricky way? No, get some hillbillies riled up. Get some racist folks riled up so they go attack black folks while you just sit back and chill. That's what power is. The ability to get somebody else to do your dirty work without you having to lift a finger. You don't even have to pay them. You don't even have to. You don't even leave a trail to you. That's what power and influence is. But you talk like that. Oh, you want to stop us from talking about women? You a simp. No, I'm talking power. I'm talking the power to correct, punish, and reward. If you don't have that, you can't stop nothing. That's just bottom line. So going back to Tyler, I mean, when he said that about the light bill, now I get the context of what he was saying. And here's the thing again, he wasn't telling women just accept no bum. He wasn't telling women to accept dudes who ain't who's a fucking male that Priscilla talk about. No, he's saying if he's stable, he got his mind right. Yeah, his money is not equal to yours, but he's stable. Give him a chance. Now, if it don't work, it just don't work. No harm, no foul. But no, he's not saying be with some bums. Even though there's some people who want you to be with bums, again, because dysfunction pays. Dysfunctional males make money. Dysfunctional males feed the prison system. Dysfunctional males feeds a whole bunch of systems because they can be used at any time to fight wars that you don't have to lift a finger to do. That's just how that goes. So yeah, it's one of those things. So to wrap this up, I have no problem with Priscilla again, and I have more of an understanding what she's saying. I still don't agree with the whole that men can't are incapable of love. It's just a different type of love. Um, do I think that we coddle too many males a lot? Yeah, we do. Is it because of fear? Yes, it is. But also because it makes money. And you have a base of willing pawns that you can use at any time. And it ain't just men that uses these pawns, women too. And like I said, if you weak, you food to be used and abused and discarded. You know, the Tyler Perry interview, the part that people were all in their panties about, which I was until I actually listened to it, it's not as bad as people think. I think just people will, oh, he just want us to date bums. And like, no, that's not what he was saying. Calm down. Y'all want to use extremes. So you listen. You don't want to date a bum. Don't. If you think that dating somebody who's you making 100K and he's making 40 is beneath you, then don't. But don't cry about it, and don't put words in the man's mouth that he didn't say. Actually, listen to what he's saying, and then make a decision. But make sure that's what he said instead of just I'm in my fifis. You know, that's what I had to do. Calm myself down, listen. So when I come up here and talk, I'm not from some just rageaholic and acting goofy and misconstrue what he said. But with that, and I am still hunting for a house. Well, actually, I got two in mind, but I'm just debating on which one I'm going to have to put more work into and what do I really want to put in all that work for. And that's pretty much it. So with that, I'm about to get off of here because I'm gonna go eat and rest up for work tonight. Monique, thank you for coming through. Thank to the people who are listening. This is Brother Speak of the Brother Speak podcast. Black men, be powerful or be powerless. The choice is yours. I'm out. Peace, everybody.